What is going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. This is the Morelia Neo 4 made in Japan, and today is all about playtesting this immaculate football boot. Let's hop into it. All right, per usual with the try-on portions, as you guys always know, I am wearing a pair of WeFoot grip socks. You can find 20% discount code down in the description box below. And as you can see, I have already played quite a bit with these. Personally, I love these. So I'm gonna kind of pretend like this is the first time I've worn them. But as you can see, these are like very turfed up already. Getting these on feet is fantastic. These run true to size. So this is a boot that fits my foot almost perfectly straight out of the box. A little bit of break-in time on the midfoot, which we'll talk about a little bit more in the video, but I want to get these laced up and show you guys how well I think these fit. I'm not going to go for runner's knot today just because I don't really need to. Once the midfoot breaks in, this synthetic leather here in this area does such a nice job of wrapping around the foot, making sure that you don't have any weird nooks and crannies. All the little bubbles of the midfoot around the lacing system area as well go away. And as you can see, the boot fits pretty much perfectly flush to my foot as well. So that is one thing that I absolutely love. As you guys always know, you also know, and you probably always know, the Asics DS Lite X Fly 5 is one of my favorite boots of all time. It is absolutely sensational, super comfortable, leather forefoot, synthetic midfoot. This is basically a direct competitor to that boot, and I would say they are both very, very good. I tend to prefer the Asics model for a couple different reasons, which we'll talk about in today's video. But you can assume that you'll get an answer to which one you should buy, hopefully by the end of today's video as we start to break these in a little bit more. I still think these need just a little bit more break-in time, but goodness, look how soft that premium K leather is. Absolutely fantastic from the Mizuno brand. Nice heel area as well. They've improved that over the previous generation as well. And of course, this sole plate is one of my favorites on the market. All conical studs, great for AG, great for FG. Let's get into it. One of the big questions I always get asked is, hey, should I buy the beta version or the non-beta version, which is, of course, these ones. I am always usually a fan of the non-beta version, which is these, particularly because of the way that the midfoot feels for most foot shapes. A standard U-throat tongue is just gonna fit more people. That's just kind of how it works from a fit perspective, because the knit material, while being incredibly soft and really nice textile-based mesh synthetic material around the midfoot, it is a little bit snug in these areas, and it's quite a bit narrower just as a predetermined shape than these ones, which is why I often say go with the non-beta version for a little bit more flexibility. But if you are on the narrower side of foot shapes, then by all means, get something like this. But for me and for the wider foot shapes, this is near perfect fitting football boot, which is so good. I immediately notice the responsiveness of the sole plate. No, it's not exceptionally better than last generation, but it is better, and it is a little bit more responsive, a little bit more kind of natural feeling, and I think Mizuno has absolutely nailed it with this one. So the heel area is another place where I think Mizuno has definitely improved, but still has room for improvement, and they really need to take a kind of a note out of Asics boots, because the Asics, for whatever reason, whatever Asics does to make their heel area so perfect, I don't know, but it verges on wizardry. And I think more people just need to copy and paste what Asics is doing. But as I said, it's really one of those things that you don't need to worry about too much with these, because these are really, really nice, and they have a great lockdown to them. It's just like the little nitpicky stuff, like the super aggressive turning that you get, little bit of slippage. Again, I'm still saying top echelon, so you're still getting like, I don't know, probably top 5 to top 10 heel areas on the market. Top 5 maybe, I would argue. So at the end of the day, it's not horrible, but still could use a little bit more improvement, especially on the lower side of the ankle and the heel area. But I think what everybody's here for, which is of course kind of the main talking point of these boots, is that leather upper and leather forefoot, because my goodness, it is soft. It literally feels like I'm playing barefoot, and I love that. Yeah, so good. Dribbling the ball, especially with the kind of touches where you're like this and you use a little bit move and you push the ball with like that forefoot area. It's so nice, so plush, but also thin enough that you don't ever feel like you're getting kind of bogged down or you're losing feeling for the ball. Moving on to a little passing pattern. Now it's really about seeing how this midfoot performs as far as passing and kind of the feel I'm getting for the ball passing, as well as the connection between the leather material and the synthetic as I'm coming around, you know, any sort of corner or whatever. Obviously try not to hit the cones as much as I can. But at the end of the day, it's really about testing, okay, you know, is there, like the 99-gram leather, which is the same construction as this, is it a matter of you hit the ball like this and you don't have a whole lot of feeling around the knuckle of your big toe, which causes a little bit of annoyance from my perspective, just because it just adds to there like this. Yeah, see, that to me is really lovely. There's not back in the middle, nice, touch, around, around, big back up, yeah, foot scan, nice. Yeah, see, there's not like a ton of, as I'm coming around the corner and I play, touch, right? So that play, there's really not a ton of difference between the sensation I'm getting passing the ball straight and passing the ball kind of with more of this part of the foot, right? So that's really what I'm looking for as I am doing any sort of quick movement, touch, play, drop off, and play like that, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking for in a boot like this. Nice, feels good. Next little pattern here, we're just gonna test a little bit more aggressiveness. So if I'm not talking, don't worry about it. But I'm gonna try to kind of get the boot to slip out a little bit. Like my goal is to test it enough so that I can feel whether my foot's gonna be enough locked in or not. Passing feels good. Move it out. Yep, lovely. Outside, little pass, big pass, back across the back, bounce. The surface right here is a little bit bobbly, but that's okay. Lovely. Nice. Yeah, these are nice, man. They are kind of moving a little bit. I am gonna take them off now though, just to get a little bit of kind of maybe runner's knot, and also see if I can get some little bit of extra lockdown while we get into shooting. All right, so we are gonna take these off really quick, and then I actually have one more drill that I wanna run you guys through. Just a little bit of adding some ladder work, or not ladder work, some like little in and out of the cones from an acceleration out of like a pass, so a touch and then accelerate dribble. So overall, honestly, Morelia Neo 4 non-beta feels really, really good. The front section in the forefoot feels excellent. The rear feels fine. I would say it's like above average. And then the midfoot is where I'm getting a little bit of slippage. That's kind of like in this little area, kind of where, like right below my hand is where I'm getting a little bit of slippage in and around kind of that area. So I'm hoping with the runner's knot, it'll help fix that issue. If it doesn't, then it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, then maybe I rethink sort of where these fall in the position of, you know, a performance boot, right? Because obviously with a performance boot, I'm really looking for something that's gonna feel like this. It's gonna have the plush leather, all that stuff. The A6 DS Lite X-Fly 5 does this for me without any lockdown issues. And that's sort of what I'm kind of nervous about moving into a little bit more intensive play is, am I slipping a little bit too much? Is this too soft of an upper that it just ends up feeling a little bit sloppy at times? I'm not there yet, don't worry, I'm not there yet. But let's get this runner's knot going, and we'll see kind of if that helps fix the issue as we move into the drill behind you that's a little bit more kind of aggressive moving. So this one, all I'm doing is playing, little touch, play again, turn out, cut backwards, and I'm accelerating through here and back, and then we'll go 3 rounds. So really it's about, hey, turn the corner, turn the corner again, and then we go. Runner's knot, already feeling really good. So pass, touch, cut the corner, yep, and accelerate out, little touch. Nice, lovely, come back around, play, here, touch, accelerate, boom, nice. Ooh, you gotta control that ball though. There we go, next one, touch, accelerate, around the corner, lovely. And there we go. Yeah, honestly, runner's knot completely changes the dynamic of this boot. And which is why, unless the boot fits really well, and actually, honestly, every boot should have a runner's knot, every single boot. Let's go other side. Really starting to feel the effects of that leather in the forefoot. So touches, regardless of outside foot, inside foot, feels absolutely fantastic for kind of playing. And I'm hoping that translates, yes, to shooting as well, because that would be absolutely fantastic. That's one of the things that I love about the DS Lite X-Fly 5 is, yeah, nice, is it really has a fantastic feel when you strike the ball for crossing or shooting as well. Lovely. Fantastic, guys. Gosh, so responsive, so tight. They feel good. A little bit loose in the forefoot area because of the leather, but let's talk about that when we go into the shooting. Next little bit here, we're just using this box to kind of create a little bit of a defender situation, really focused on, as far as a drill perspective goes, really just focused on being creative through this box, using these little cones. As I'm coming up here, I'm really just kind of, am I moving here, here, all the way through, touch, play, maybe a little fake shot and cut the other way. Really just kind of do whatever you need to in these great drill for wingers. I'm really gonna try to evaluate with kind of, not the looseness, yes. Oh, yes. Not the looseness necessarily, but with sort of the higher volume, because the leather is so soft in the forefoot here, it really does kind of stretch almost a little bit more than I would like. It still feels great because you have the ability to, yeah, oh, I'll take that. You have the ability for the leather to really get in and mold to your foot, so you can kind of crimp in different ways and you can fold your foot to strike the ball, like whatever you need, which is a huge thing. I just find that it feels a little bit less, a little bit less kind of locked in than the DS Lite X-Fly 5. So that in combination with some of the lockdown things, particularly in the heel area, which we'll talk about probably at the end of the video, that's why I'm more, although I really like these, and these would absolutely be a game boot for me, I don't like them as much as the DS Lite X-Fly 5. And again, keep in mind, big picture context, these boots are probably top 10 all time for me. Like that's how good they are. So shooting feels fantastic, as you would expect from a Mizuno premium quality leather product. No complaints really when it comes to the striking surface. This time being a little bit more rigid with the way that I'm coming out of a cone line as opposed to just sort of a freestyle. Just a little bit something different, keeps me on my toes. And as Jamal Musiala said, he learned how to dribble through people using cones. So although this isn't my favorite kind of drill to do, it definitely is effective, because as long as you do it with intensity and you do it with poise and you do it with quality, it really doesn't matter. Nice. You don't get a pingy sensation in these. So if that's what you're after, you don't get that like kind of ping you get from a really thin synthetic boot, which if that's what you're looking for, obviously a leather Mizuno is a non-starter, right? So that's, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, if you want that pingy sensation and you want to stay within the Mizuno family, would highly suggest the Alpha, because the Alpha, the Alpha provides that sort of like, you strike the ball and it feels so much more pingy than these do. These feel more kind of natural and barefoot, which I think a lot of people are gonna really like. Dang. Man's on fire right now. Hitting those bins. Yeah, I really like the feeling of these. Super, super nice. Oh, okay, yet another example of why you don't get cocky. Jeez Louise. Let's get crossbar challenge going, eh? All right, you know the rules. One left foot, one right foot, right on the line. It's gonna be clean as, because striking with these feels fantastic, as long as I don't shank it like that last shot. And you know what? I have a good feeling about these. Really good feeling about these. All right, we'll go, oh, let's go right foot first. I feel like I've done left foot most other videos first. Here we go, right foot first. Bang. Thank you. 1 out of 1. Give me that. 2 out of 2. Free kicks. And per usual, what I'm trying to do is whip it into the top near post corner. We'll see how we go. Trying to get that strike going. And to be fair, okay, really quick aside, as I'm taking free kicks, because I'm hitting it, if I hit it with just a little like dink, okay, fair enough. I'm not gonna get a ton of like lockdown issues, but really what I'm trying to test is, can I whip it as rapid and as aggressive as possible, so that I'm really testing that plant, so that when I'm doing that, is my foot and my heel sliding back and forth? That's really what we're here to test, aside from obviously whether or not I can actually hit top ends. Which that shot would indicate I can't, but I don't say I can't, I say I can, and I will, and we just gotta give it a little bit more time. Here we go. Try for a little bit of less aggressive walk up. So feeling pretty good, to be honest. The heel area is giving me a little bit of issues, which we'll talk about in the conclusion, simply because there's a little bit of heel padding that runs around the top of the Achilles, as opposed to all the way down to the bottom. Nice, that's a great one. Right and up and over the wall. So let's touch on that in just a sec. That little padding kind of goes right around the top, as opposed to getting all the way down into the bottom of the boot, which is what I think makes the Asics so good. So as I'm coming up to the ball and I'm striking like that, like nice connection with the ball, feels good, sounds good, right? But as I'm planting, the bottom of my heel, like if you look at a heel like this, the bottom kind of little area of the heel is slipping a little bit, and that's what causes blood blisters on the bottom of, and sort of in and around the bottom of my heel area, which they're really unpleasant, to be honest. So that's something I'd like to avoid if I can at all costs. That's a great free kick. Last one here. Man, right foot is hella better than left foot today. But you know what? That is okay. I'm also doing a slightly different run up, because I've realized that accuracy is probably better than power at this point. Here we go, last one. Probably the worst out of the 3, but you get the idea, right? Let's hop into the conclusion, and I want to show you guys that heel area. But of course, before we do have to show you guys the straight down view. And as you can see, with the lace loop tied, with that little extra lace loop, there's no gap in between my ankle. No matter where I go, it's sitting flush to the outside of my ankle, which is such a nice feeling. So I'll show you guys here, there's no space on either side of the ankle, with that extra little
piece tied in that runner's knot. So looks good, feels good, and as you can see, can wiggle my toes really well, which is always a good thing. So feeling good so far.
All right, guys, that is going to wrap up today's playtest video. Now, speaking of the heel area, which really is kind of my biggest issue with these football boots, I want to show you what the inside of that heel area looks like to give you an idea of what kind of issue I'm running into. Now, in the majority, hopefully you can see this, but in the majority of football boots, you have a padding sensation that goes all the way down to the bottom. But as you can see, hopefully from this crease line right here, you have basically a pad that sits right, like as if you were to put two fingers right there. And that's nice, that feels really good. The issue is that while that wraps your Achilles tendon, down here is not structured enough and not padded enough to give you the extra bit of cushioning you need up into almost to like cup the bottom of your heel area in order to give the most sensational kind of lockdown in that heel area. And that's one of the things that really affects me personally because I have such thin heel areas. I need that padding to go all the way down into the base of the shoe so that I'm not slipping around on the bottom. So the connection between the heel and the sole plate, or the sock liner, I guess you could say, the connection between the sock liner and the bottom kind of base way back in the back of this heel area needs to be able to wrap my foot. But in a lot of ways with these boots, sometimes I feel as though I'm locked in the forefoot, locked in the midfoot, and I have locked in like in that strip area, but then my heel feels like it's kind of floating in and around the inside of the boot, which is not a very pleasant feeling. It doesn't affect me that much. And as I said before, I'm being very nitpicky with the playtest of these because I know, number one, how bloody expensive these are. Number two, how hard these are to find. Sorry, the birds are being crazy loud right now. And number three is, this is a Mizuno product, and Mizuno products are often exceptional as far as their quality, their build, the anatomical shape, which I would say overall is fantastic. It's just that one piece in the heel area I think they need to fix. So outside of that, man, there's really nothing I can complain about with these boots. The feeling, the lightweightness, it feels super barefoot. There's a great amount of feel when you are dribbling, passing, shooting the ball, manipulating the ball with dribbling. I feel like the sole plate is just responsive enough to really do what you need to. You don't really need any more than this, especially with the ribbing here in the midfoot area. So overall, it's a fantastic pair of football boots. I think they're excellent. And in this Volt colorway, they look just kind of dope as well. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up the playtest, guys. I will continue to do some testing of these. I'll wear these in a game for sure before the 1 month review so you guys can get kind of an idea of how they perform in a match-like experience and in a match-like scenario. And then we'll go from there. We'll give it a rating and we'll really kind of evaluate where does this actually stack up compared to some of the competition, which of course, DS Lite X Fly 5, DS Lite X Fly Pro 2, 99-gram leather boots, those Diadora Veloces that I reviewed. There's a bunch of other ones now. Even Copa Pure in some senses have like a similar sort of construction to these. And so, yeah, I mean, tough competition, unfortunately, but these are definitely towards the top of that list. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Like the video if you got value from it. Make sure you go to the link down in the description box below for 20% off of the WeFoot grip socks, and you can get 20% off your order, and it really helps the channel as well as giving you guys some really, really good grip socks, which I love. As always, be awesome. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.